Welcome to the show here. I've got a super exciting show here for you lined up. We're talking big. We're talking bad. We're talking big, bad, bold predictions here. And on the show, we got the great, the powerful, the almighty, and almighty at fantasy only. That's it, Jim. That's kind of a backhanded compliment there. But Jim, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited about this episode. I'm pumped, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me on, counselor. I appreciate it.
Yeah, bold predictions here. We got 10 of them for you. And man, some of these are bold, yet some of them are relatively viable. I mean, you can see these things happening, but to the mainstream consensus and where these players are currently ranked, you may look at them and say, this isn't viable because some of these guys are not ranked in the top 10. You're like, how could they do that? So it's really exciting and it's ultra entertaining here, Jim. I'm excited to dive into this, man. How's your day been going?
It's going fine just so far. It's it was really, really hot here for all of July, but it's like the fever's broken. August has just been beautiful, beautiful weather, getting a little rain, nice and sunny days. It's the best time of year. I just love this time of year. So
And you want to let people know where you're located too. You're in.
I live in New Mexico. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico, up in the mountains, and this is what they call monsoon season. So we get the moisture that comes in from the Gulf, and it just creates these nice afternoon rainstorms, cools everything off. Unlike most places where when it rains, it gets hotter and muggier. Out here, it's so dry that when it rains, everything cools off. It's really nice, and it's just a great place to live. I love this place. So,
nice. Well, I'm in the Northeast and around the Buffalo area, and we get our cold winters and hot summers, but it's pretty nice right now too for us. So can't complain. Not as hot as you for sure. All right, Jim, before we get into this, guys, make sure you guys do grab the 16-round plus draft app tool. Jim, do you want to explain what this is? Because it's an amazing piece of software here that's really going to give you a competitive advantage in your draft. Jim, 30 seconds or less. What is 16-round plus? And understand, guys, this is separate and different from the solution. Solution is all the optimal players in a video training and a cheat sheet with my notes. This is different. Jim, really quickly, what is 16-round plus, please?
16 Rounds Plus is a live draft tool. It's a web-friendly, mobile-friendly tool. You can access it on any web-connected device. And what I like to do is I like to keep it open while I'm in a live draft situation, and it's going to help you plan and strategize every pick in the draft based on the size of your league, your draft position, the way your league scores points, the type of league you're drafting in. Like just last night, I did a best ball draft using the app, right, and it has special customized rankings for best ball that's separate from what the rankings that we give for the season-long managed teams, like what we typically talk about. So it's very handy and it's kept up to date. So players are moving right now. A player has a good game during the preseason, and guess what? He starts moving up the charts. Well, we adjust for that. We move them as well. And so when you're looking at the app, you're always going to have the best idea as to when players are coming off the board and when you need to draft them, because you don't want to wait too long or you're going to miss them. So that's what the app is there to help you with.
All right, make sure you guys grab it, thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. We've also linked it here below. All right, so let's dive into this. Bold predictions, big, bad, bold predictions, Jim. I'm super excited to dive into this. Lion mentality. It's going to be an entertaining one. So if you're in the car, buckle up, drive safe, both hands on the wheel. It's going to be exciting. So, Jim, let's start off with the first big, bold prediction here. I'll let you go first with yours. He's got 5. I've got 5. Let's get into it. Who do you got here? What do you got?
All right. So I don't know if you guys watched the video, but I did a video about second-year players, second-year upside, tight ends. Second-year tight ends have a lot of upside available to them, and I got 2 names right now. I'm very excited about what these guys can do this year because they are dirt cheap on the draft board. These guys are last-round players you can pick up. And these 2 tight ends that I think are going to end the season as a top 12 tight end. One is Cade Otton of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other is Jelani Woods of the Indianapolis Colts. Both these guys are in prime positions, and we've had critical injuries and drama happening with both teams, which is moving them up the pecking order for targets. So like with Tampa Bay, I don't know if you heard, but Russell Gage went down with an injury
Oh,
and looks like he's
yep.
going to be out for a while. That
Heard that.
moves Cade Otton up, and he was already getting pretty decent volume last year. He was averaging about 4 targets per game. I can
Right.
see that going up into the 6 range, and that's going to get him into a tight end 1 situation if he's there. Jelani Woods, likewise, we got all this drama with Jonathan Taylor. Is he going to play? He's still not playing. He's still saying, "Oh, my back hurts."
Right.
I still think just JT is going to play, but it's not like he's a motivated guy and he could just one day say, "Oh man, my ankle, I can't play anymore," and then you're screwed with him. But Jelani Woods then moves up the pecking order, and really there's not a lot of receiving options for the Colts outside of Pittman. Pittman and JT, really, those are the 2 receiving options. And if one of
Right.
them's not playing or playing kind of half-assed, Jelani Woods is going to be the beneficiary of that. So I like both those guys very, very late in your drafts to take a chance on them.
Yeah, with tight ends, again, we always talk about this is a bit of a crapshoot after Travis Kelce. And when you look at 2 guys here, these guys have some upside. Obviously, big bodies here. Woods, big guy, red zone target. And Richardson may rely, rookie quarterbacks have done it in the past. They rely on those rookie tight ends. And this is a very viable, I think, prediction here. And both these guys are sleepers, immense value, unbelievable value. And this is why we talk about this stuff, because we're highlighting this stuff. Now, you're not really as high on rookie tight ends, but I do believe Sam Laporta is going to have an amazing year. His path to success is bright, especially with Jameson Williams. Williams suspension, I heard he got banged up in practice as well. So Williams is not looking good. So Laporta looks like a clear cut, and not even looks like, he is right now in training the second option at wide receiver. And again, Gibbs is going to get his volume as well too, but out of the backfield and checkdowns and stuff like that. So very viable prediction here on Woods, tight ends, possible top 12 finishes. Good bold prediction, Jim. All right, we'll move on to mine here, Jim. I'm excited about this one. And you guys know, this is not a secret here. If you've been listening to the channel, not a secret. Quentin Johnson, my guy. This is my guy, nobody else, because everyone's sleeping on, everyone's drafting Keenan Allen round 3. Go ahead, draft Keenan Allen. Take Keenan Allen and Mike Williams because their ADP is higher than Quentin Johnson. I'm getting him round 8 to 9, typically in a 12-person league. But my bold prediction here, Jim, are you ready for this one? Ready for this?
Lay it on me, man.
Quentin Johnson will be wide receiver 1 on his team as early as week 5. I think it'll be earlier than week 5. By week 5, he's taken over. And yes, I don't care what anybody says. Yes. I'm telling you right now, injuries count. So Keenan Allen, we know he not stayed safe. Mike Williams can't finish the season to save his life. These guys have had their share of injuries. Keenan Allen over the hill. Quentin Johnson drafted in the first round. And I don't see any reason why he's not on the field pretty much almost every snap. Keenan's going to play the slot. Williams and him outside. Williams is a good red zone guy, 50-50 balls, jump balls, but this guy can run the slants too. He can run inside, he can run outside, run the post. This guy can do everything. He's got the big hands. Now, he did have a couple of drops in preseason week 1, which is concerning people, but I want to remind people, I'm going to say this in all my videos, Jamar Chase was dropping balls in preseason. So Quentin Johnson, wide receiver 1 on the Chargers, is going to be the man by week 5 and will easily beat Keenan Allen and Mike Williams in fantasy points. What do you think of this bold prediction here, Jim?
Yeah, you know what? I like it. I am not a big fan of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams either. I think both those guys, their risk of injury is extremely high. Keenan Allen is over 30 now, and Mike Williams is 29, so he's pushing it right now as far as age goes. Quentin Johnson is the young future talent of this team.
Yes.
He is the future, and they're going to start featuring him because, next year, I bet Keenan Allen isn't even on the team. I mean, it's just one of those kind of things. You've also got Austin Eckler, who's over age 28 now. So this is a team before the draft I was very concerned about. I'm like, these guys are just all aging out, but they bring in this young, fresh talent. He is the future. He's the one that's going to be playing with Justin Herbert for years. And so he is going to move into a very prominent role, especially once the injuries start rolling in, and they will. So
glad we agree on this one.
Yeah.
All right, your next big, bold prediction, Jim. Love to hear this one. Now, I did actually take a glance at his big, bold predictions. I like them. I think they're very viable, too. And understand, guys, some of these are viable. Some of them may be out of reach, but Jim's got a good one for his next one. I'm excited about this one as well. One of them I don't agree with, but Jim, what is your next big, bold prediction?
All right. So I got 3 running backs that are available past pick 100 in the draft that I think all 3 of these guys are viable fantasy starters this season. Not just bye week, not just handcuff. I mean, these are guys that you'll be able to start every week. The 3 guys, and I've been picking up these guys in just about every draft I'm in. Tank Bigsby, Zach Charbonnet, and Tyler Algier. All these guys are in a fantastic situation to produce and get valuable touches. And like I said, I think all of them are going to get enough volume that you'll be able to start them as at least a flex this season. So they're great values at where they're going in the draft.
Yeah, I think Charbonnet takes that backfield. I'm not sold on Walker being healthy the entire season. He's shown me, like I've talked about this before, I sound like a broken record, but there's a lot of people that tune in, Jim, at this point in the year where they weren't listening to me back in when we do this all year, right? So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We go year round here. But yeah, they've heard me talk about this. Walker and his red flags got hurt last year. I was an owner, missed a few games, ended up blocking me on social media. He blocked me because I said he sucked. He should get back on the field, right? Because it looked like it was a non-contact injury. And then the Seahawks draft Charbonnet very early, which was a big-time shocker because Charbonnet could be an RB1 in his own right. And then he got hurt now recently, about a couple weeks ago.
But he's fine. He's fine. He came back like 3 days later. Back, he's full participant. He played in the preseason last week. He's totally fine, 100%.
He's fine, but where I see smoke, there's probably fire. So I just don't feel good about him. Give me Charbonnet later is what I'm saying. Now with your Algier pick here, I'm just so high on, Bijan that I'm just hoping that Algier doesn't get any work because I've got Bijan all my leagues. But yeah, I mean, they're all startable, all flex plays. I really do believe Charbonnet has the highest. Bigsby, I think, takes over that job as well, too, to be honest, because I'm not sold on ATN staying healthy, too. So Charbonnet, Bigsby, love Algier, not so high on. So, yeah, it's a bold prediction, right? And I don't think it's that bold either.
And just to say, for Algier, for this offense, this is a run-first offense. Last year, 559 attempts. And I know Bijan is good, and I love Bijan, and I've taken him in a ton of drafts. He's not getting 500 carries this year. There's more than enough that, Bigsby could get 300 carries, and there's still 250 carries available in that backfield, of which Algier will take the lion's share. Again, I think there's enough volume that he can be an every week starter for your fantasy team. So that's why I'm taking him.
All right.
And the other good thing about all 3 of these guys is if the guy in front of them is injured and misses time, these guys all become RB1s. So that's the other benefit is they have they already are playable, but they have that RB1 upside should something happen to the guy in front of them. So that's another thing that makes me really like all 3 of them.
All right, you're going to like my next big bold prediction here, Jim. I know you like this because you're one of the first people to talk about him. Nathaniel Dell, Tank Dell, finishes top 15 in fantasy points amongst wide receivers. Yes, this could very well be happening. And the fact of the matter is this guy is he's pretty much being drafted in the 15th round. Now, he was going undrafted, but he had the first week of preseason game and all the sheep were jumping on him. But we were talking about this guy way before everybody else. Jim, Tank Dell, this is a bold prediction, lights it up, becomes wide receiver 1, him and Stroud. Remember, Stroud he specifically asked, he said, I want Tank Dell to be drafted. The Texans met that request. Love the upside, love the ceiling, and I love the talent. Now, his college numbers, guys, for all the people that don't know, in 2022, 1,398 yards. So let's just say 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns, 109 receptions, guys, in 13 games. This guy is good. I mean, he's smaller. He's 5'10", 160 pounds, but the guy is good, Jim. I'm excited. Tank Dell, I know this is your guy. What are your thoughts on this? Does he finish as a top 15? I know it's bold, but is it viable?
Well, I got to say that's a very bold prediction. I do
Yes.
love Tank Dell. I've been grabbing him in all my leagues. I had been able to grab him like one of my last few picks in drafts, but now he's moved up to like the 14th round. So you do need to take him earlier if you want to get him on your team. But this dude is the slot receiver for CJ Stroud. He's the safety valve. He's the one that's going to get the volume as far as passing goes, and I'm not a big fan of taking receivers playing with rookie quarterbacks, but I do very much like this. I like this play, and I think he's going to be extremely valuable this season. So yes, I'm all in on Tank Dell. I'm grabbing him everywhere I can. And again, 14th round pick. This is like right at the end of your draft, man. So low. There's such low risk associated with him, and the upside's tremendous. So I love it.
I get like Deshaun Watson excited about the pick. So, all right, Jim, let's go on to your next big, bad, bold prediction that's somewhat viable. I'm excited to hear this one here, and I think everybody is at this point because he's got.
All right, so I got 3 round 2 wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb,
Yep.
Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave, and they are going to outplay first round wide receivers Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs, and Devontae Adams this season.
Very viable. I like this. And this is not even bold. This is actually truth. I actually see this. We're visionaries, and the upside of Wilson for sure. Kupp definitely I'm diving. I'm totally interrupting you here. But, Diggs had that drama. I still think he's going to be good. Adams gets a regression. I'm going to let you talk here. But yes, I definitely agree with this. The excitement's there. Jim, I'll let you talk. I didn't mean to steal the spotlight.
Yeah, that's all right. So you got CeeDee Lamb, who is on a contract year. He has improved every year he's been in the league. Absolutely high upside for him. Garrett Wilson, I'm so excited about. I can barely stand it. I think he's going to be tremendous. And then we talked about Chris Olave and Derek Carr, and how Derek Carr feeds his wide receiver 1 and makes them exceedingly valuable, like really like a top 3 play. Last year he gave Devontae Adams 180 targets. Okay, I can see something similar happening with Chris Olave. Garrett Wilson's ceiling is huge. I mean, all 3 of these guys, again, tremendous upside, great picks in the second round. And we talked about 3 of your first 4 picks should be running backs. I really like taking one of these guys in the second round and then getting, running back first, running back in the third round, running back in the fourth round. But anyway, that's where I'm at with these guys. And yes, I think all of them are going to have tremendous seasons.
Yeah, I'm super excited about him. Garrett Wilson has the high ceiling. I mean, you explained it better than anybody else here. Love. Now, the only knock to this, to our side here, the Wilson Olave side, is, again, this is a bit of a reach, but Michael Thomas, there is a chance he stays healthy and is force-fed by Carr. What do you think of this? Everyone's talking about this. This could happen. Don't get me wrong. This could happen.
It's not going to happen, man. It's not. I mean, again, Michael Thomas hasn't been good since 2019. That's 4 seasons ago that he was good. And he really has not played at all in the past 3 seasons. I think he's played like 5 games total. I don't care what you say. It's just like with players, with older players like OBJ and DeAndre Hopkins, same thing, man. These guys can't stay on the field. They can't stay healthy, and they're too old anyway. They're all over age 30. It's not going to happen. There's no career revival happening at this point. Chris Olave showed what he could do last year with a bad quarterback, and now he's got a quarterback that can feed him the ball. It's going to be Chris Olave is the one that's going to be getting the targets. I'm not even worried at all about Michael Thomas.
Good. Neither am I. I mean, years to wow us were not wow, but again, there is that outside chance. I'm just warning you. There's that outside chance that Michael Thomas shows up. But again, very unlikely. Years to wow us as of late, we're not wowed. All right. My next big, bold prediction here, Jim, are you ready for this one? And this is going to upset a lot of the Consheepses. We might even get Connor. I hear him, knocking on the door with his hoofer. What did sheep even have? Do they have hooves?
They have hooves.
Hubs or paws or whatever. Paws or anyway, he's banging on the door because he knows he senses it with his sheep senses. But I got ready for this one. Tony Pollard will be the biggest bust for fantasy football 2023. What is he going right now? He's a top 8 running back in PPR.
He's
Jim?
almost going in the first round. He's like right at the end of the first, second round. Right there is where he's going.
The guy got hurt with Zeke Elliott carrying the load last year. Like literally, it was like, he had more attempts last year, Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott is gone, and everyone thinks that he's just going to take on the load and become the Zeke of 2016, 2017, wherever Zeke was a rookie, right? He's been a backup for years. And this whole theory that backups can be workhorses, I'm not sold on. Now, we talked about this before the show, and I agree. I'm all for this. He's in a good situation thing, because he is. They did have Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn is a bulldog. This guy can run under you. He can run around you. He's just so dynamic. And I think he's going to be used even on inside runs. I think Deuce Vaughn's going to be used. They got Rojo there. They got a couple other options. I'm just not sold that Tony Pollard can, number one, last durability-wise, and number two, just not sold that he is a workhorse guy. It's going to be a by-committee approach. And hey, at the time of this recording, it is August 17th. There is some lingering free agents. So I would not be surprised if a Leonard Fournette seeps into the committee if they're not really sold on Deuce Vaughn and the other guys, or even a Kareem Hunt who's lingering as a free agent right now. So again, Tony Pollard, for all you guys drafting mid-season right now, or mid-August, and even leading into September, if they have not acquired anybody, I'm just not sold. Again, I could be wrong. This guy could go to the moon, but I think he's going to be one of, if not the biggest bust this year. And yes, injuries count. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I'm not really looking Tony Pollard's way. He, last year was a career season for him. It was a contract year season. He had a career best performance. He was the RB7 on the year. And I really see that as a peak for him. That was about as good as you could possibly expect from Pollard. And he had the support of Zeke Elliott doing all the grunt work in between the tackles and getting the hard yards and getting the goal line stands. I don't really think Tony Pollard is built for that. I don't think he's not big enough. And, he's always been more of a dynamic finesse player. But yeah, again, I just think he's being drafted at his ceiling right now. And that's a bad place to draft any player. You want players with upside. Yeah. And so I can definitely see a decline that his body just can't hold up if they start giving him a workhorse load. It's going to be too much for him. It was almost too much for him last year. So,
did I hear you say work hoe? Give him a work hoe.
Workhorse load. And yes, I can see how that could be bad. Yes.
Tony Pollard getting a work hoe. All right. All right. You always get those slip ups sometimes, Jim, and they're actually very comical. The one time you want to date Connor. I think you want to date Connor. One time. Take him out on a date. Gwen's
I tell you, we can just grill Connor up. How about that? We'll just grill him up, have some lamb shanks. Be delicious. He's delicious.
He's making his way to, some people he might be making his way into here. So pretty soon. All right. So that was my bold prediction. Jim, you're on the clock here. And I think he has his own bold prediction coming up here. Connor does. So Jim, what is your next bold prediction here?
All right. So here's my next prediction. Trevor Lawrence, the third-year quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, is going to be a top 3 quarterback, and he is going to lead his team to the Super Bowl this year.
Wow.
That's it, man. He's going to be fantastic.
So that's it.
No.
Why are you saying oh no, Jim?
Because I can tell who's coming in right now, and that guy just needs to
go
back to the fields. Go back to the fields.
I'm coming in. I'm on the mic. Connor, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you here. And he was on the show yesterday, Jim. Everybody, Connor's here. Hi, everybody. It's me again. And looky who it is. It's Half Baldy. I was with the other Baldy yesterday, and now it's Jim and his Half Baldy face. How are you, Jim?
Well, I was doing good until you came along.
Well, that's not very nice at all. Now, listen, I have a bold prediction, everybody. Okay, Connor, before you get to the bold prediction, are you missing Gwen? I know that she's been gone and she's on vacation here. Some people say that you actually scared her away, but what's going on with you and Gwen? Oh, I don't care about her. I heard she's in Europe now, and I hope she stays there. Okay, Connor. All right, let's get to this bold prediction. Jim, are you excited to hear Connor's bold prediction?
What is your bold prediction, Connor?
All right. Are you guys ready? I think you should buckle up. If you're in the car, keep both hands on the wheel. Make sure you drive safe. I want to see you back home tonight and home safe, okay? All right, see, well, Connor seems to be, see, Jim, Connor cares about people's feelings and their safety. He's a nice guy, right, Jim?
Oh, he is not. Connor, let's hear your bad, bold prediction. Let's hear it.
All right, it's big, it's bad, and it's bold. Are you ready, Jim? Are you ready? Buckle up, everybody. Here we go.
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
All right. Austin Eckler and Christian McCaffrey will finish on top this year amongst fantasy running backs. There it is. There it is. Number one.
All right. And what is your reason for that?
Because they finished on top last year, silly.
And everything that happened last year. You know, I used to work in finance, and one of the things they put in a disclaimer on anything that you were going to invest money in is that past performance is no guarantee of future results. Have you ever heard that saying?
Well, you're not very smart because I do the copy and paste theory every year. We're not held accountable, and it's going to happen again. Anyways, I got to go, Jim. Grow some hair, just like Tim. You guys should definitely get a toupee, both of you guys. I'm out. Connor, well, that's not very nice making fun of people's physical appearances. You know that's not very nice these days, is it? Well, I don't care. Too bad, so sad. Bye, everybody. See ya. Connor, Jim, that wasn't very nice, actually, making fun
I think we should invite Connor to our next barbecue. What do you think?
Lamb chops. All right. So, yeah, all right, here we go here, Jim. You're not really too bothered by that, are you? I mean, you don't care.
What am I going to do about it, man? I mean, come on.
It's funny because Tim was on the show and Connor called him an a-hole, and he's like, well, look who it's coming from. It doesn't really matter, does it? Sticks and stones, right? All right, let's keep going. All right, you're next. Whose turn is it? I got too much excitement.
Well, we were talking about Trevor Lawrence being a top 3 quarterback, is going to play in the Super Bowl, and like I said, what the Jaguars have done is exactly what teams need to do to build a Super Bowl caliber team. And
right.
You know, again, you draft yourself the franchise quarterback, the difference maker. Then you surround him with talent. You use free agency and you use the draft, high draft capital to bring in talent to surround him with good offensive weapons. And while he is on his rookie contract and he's cheap, you can then load up the defense. You can bring in a lot of talented people and pay them to really get your team over the hump. And so many teams have done this. You know, Philly did it last year. The Bengals have done it. The Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs. It's this formula. And this is the team that's following the formula right now. Doug Peterson has gotten teams to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl. So he can do it again. He's going to do it with this team. He's going to do it with this quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be just absolutely a blockbuster this year.
Very viable. All right, we're moving on to mine here. You ready for this? So this is actually the timing is perfect to this. Connor has left, so he won't be able to hear this. If he did, he'd come here and bite my ankles. Christian McCaffrey and Eckler, both. And yes, injuries count. I want to just emphasize this because if you're hurt and you're not on the field, you're not producing fantasy points. So yes, injuries do count. And I did call Cooper Kupp a bust last year. He got hurt and he busted. Okay. So CMC and Eckler, both of them will fall out of the top 10 in fantasy points amongst running backs. So in other words, they will not finish as top 10 running backs, but both are being drafted as number 1, number 2 in the first round as the top 2 running backs. Both of them will fail. Both of them will fall out. And one, or if not, both of them will get hurt this year. CMC and Eckler will fall off. I know Eckler is definitely set up for a decline. CMC, you know, he is kind of in that position to do the same thing. Elijah Mitchell, if he's healthy, only played 5 games last year, will dip into the volume for sure if he's healthy, but he can't stay healthy either. But CMC and Eckler both will finish outside the top 10 in fantasy points amongst running backs. That is the bold prediction. Jim, is this viable? Or, I mean, injury has to happen, I think, for this to happen, right?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm in on Eckler. I think Eckler is going to suffer a severe decline this year in his usage, just based on how the team is being built out and his age and everything else. I'm actually fine with CMC. I see him as a risky pick, but certainly a player with the highest ceiling in the NFL as far as running backs go, just because of his usage in the passing game and being on a great offense. You know, and looks like Brock Purdy's going to be back and. You know, I think that CMC is going to be fine. They're not using him as heavily as they used to use him when he was in
Right.
Carolina. So, they're going to manage his usage a little bit better. And I think he's going to be okay. But as far as Eckler, yeah, I don't like Eckler at all. And I think it's going to be a pretty severe decline for him out of the top 12 and just a bust for fantasy purposes. So,
All right, Jim, moving on to your next bold prediction. What do you got next for your final bold prediction?
all right. And this is another wide receiver that I'm super excited about for this year. I have grabbed him in several leagues, especially if I'm picking top three. If I'm in the top three, I've been inclined to very much take this guy. But I got Jamar Chase is going to be the first wide receiver in NFL history to
Wow.
exceed 2,000 receiving yards in 2023. So I am all in on Jamar Chase. His usage is fantastic. It's better than Justin Jefferson. And as long as he can stay healthy in a contract year, he's kind of in a contract year. He's in the third year of a 5-year contract, but they're gonna extend this guy very soon. And I just think the sky's the limit for the guy, and he's gonna be the number one wide receiver this year.
Obviously, I think health has to obviously play a factor here. Played 12 games, still was a top target getter last year on the Bengals. Love him, love him. I mean, there's no reason why this guy doesn't have the highest ceiling. Obviously, Burrow, he's had his share of injuries in the past. If he stays healthy, Burrow, like you said, in the past, many times, contract year, there's no reason why Chase doesn't thrive this year. And yet people are still drafting Higgins in round 2, 3, which is absolutely ludicrous. We just did a mock draft on worst picks where I got Higgins in that draft just to make fun of it. Chase is the man. I don't know if this is 2000. I don't know. That's a little high, but hey, it's a bold prediction. That's what makes it so much fun, right?
Yeah, he only played 12 games last year. He was still a wide receiver
Yeah.
one. He was still the wide receiver 12 on the season with only 12 games played. His usage is over 11 targets a game. And so, it's just like he will crush it if he gets if he's able to stay healthy. And
Absolutely.
I think he's going to put it together this year. I'm just so excited. Burrow's also on a contract year. Burrow's playing for like $60 million a year contract extension. So Burrow's going to be fantastic too. So I'm all in on these two getting together and really making NFL history this year. I think it's going to happen. So
Absolutely. All right. Speaking of history, these guys, and again, it kind of goes against what you said here, but I feel for this last bold prediction, that Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence are the greatest duo this year, meaning they combined together will have the most amount of fantasy points as a duo, meaning more than Burrow and Chase, meaning more than Kirk Cousins and Jefferson, meaning more than Hurts and AJ Brown. Do you guys get the picture here? These two. And the nice thing about it is they're both better value. I can get Lawrence round 5 typically, where you're paying a little bit more for some of these other guys. I mean, not so much Kirk Cousins, bad example, but for like a Hurts, you're paying a little bit more. Burrow, a little more expensive, right? And even at Chase and Jefferson, first round draft capital. Ridley, round 3. Now, what's crazy is I ended up getting Ridley round 7 when I was drafting back in around just after the draft. I did a draft, right? And now Ridley's ADP is shot up because people are seeing the footage. His route running looks good. His speed looks phenomenal. His everything looks good. His cutting is amazing. So I'm excited about this. I feel that these two combined in fantasy points, their points as a duo will combine for more points than a Hurts and AJ Brown, for example. Top duo right here. The dynamic duo. What do you think?
well, I certainly would agree with the idea that they could be the best value duo just because
Yeah.
of where you're able to get them. Because, Ridley's round 3, Lawrence is round 5 or 6. And that's certainly better than like Jamar Chase, where you'd have to take him first round and
Round
then
one.
probably Burrow in the 4th round. So I think that as far as value goes, there is they could definitely be better. I don't think that you're really taking a bold prediction on the kind of volume that Ridley's going to get, and I'm just not sure that sort of volume can happen with those two. Whereas we've already seen
Yeah.
the volume that Jamar Chase gets from Joe Burrow. So for me, this is a very bold take, counselor. But like I said, I would agree with the fact that they're probably going to be the best value duo. But I still think that like a duo like Burrow and Chase is going to win in points. They're going to get more points, but you got to pay more for them. So that's what you got to weigh against, for those two.
Yeah, I mean, volume is a bit of a concern to me too, and you got the risk of Ridley coming back, a little bit of field rust, as you say. So there's some question marks. With that risk comes that major upside. So volume is obviously a little bit of a concern. That's a really good point. But my other sleeper duo that could really crush it is Quentin Johnson and Herbert. Look out. Now that is a value duo because you're getting Quentin
Yeah,
Johnson.
I mean, Quentin's going in like the 9th round or something. Yeah, if he hits, man, you're gonna crush it. And I do like the offensive coordinator they brought in. The Chargers, they brought in Dallas's offensive coordinator. Kellen Moore, and we saw what he did with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, and Dak wasn't even that good, and still CeeDee Lamb was like a top 6 wide receiver, I think, last year. So I think there could definitely be some value upside there for sure.
All right, Jim, those are some big, bold fantasy football predictions here. Fantasy football bold predictions. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. Make sure you guys grab the 16-round plus tool. We've linked it below, or 16roundplus.com, or just go to thefantasyfootballaccounts.com under programs. Grab this tool. It's so amazing. All right, guys. And Jim, thanks for coming on, man. I like your predictions. I like my predictions, and they're very viable. Jim, are you excited? Fantasy football's here. I mean, it's what?
Man, it's like 3 weeks till the season starts, man. I can't wait. Actually, I think it's 3 weeks from today, isn't it? It's like that. First Thursday in September. Hell yes. Let's do it. Let's get there.
Jim, I like it. I'm too giddy here. I gotta go. I gotta go work out or something. All right, man. We're out. Subscribe, thumbs up, and Connor might want to come back on again next time to trash talk. Jim, you got to stick up for yourself next time. I don't know what else to tell you. You got to tell
I just let it roll off my back.
Baby back ribs, eh? You're going to have some ribs on the barbecue. That's all.
I think like I said, I think we need to have a barbecue and we need to cook up some yummy, delicious lamb shanks and just eat them all up. It'd be wonderful.
Gwen would like that. Gwen and Tim would like that, I'm sure. All right, guys, subscribe, thumbs up, and we are out. Take care, guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody.